Got a few letters. One from Don. Larry, now would be a great time to start another run for governor of California. With the country's change to a Republican and 70% of the country believing we're in the wrong direction, and Newsom already indicating that he wants a special session to obstruct Donald Trump, you have more support now than you know. Clary, C-L-A-R-E-Y, writes, it'd be nice if you ran for governor of California in 2026. You have the best chance, and I believe the Republican Party needs to really plan ahead and take California back. I believe that can be done if our strategy is well thought out. One of our best chances is now, and you. You have the knowledge and skill to run California. We need a strong leader. I'm thankful Trump is back as president, and your running again could make it happen that you could be elected California. I pray you will consider. Thomas, please take another run at governor of California. We need to make California great again. Thank you for your clear-eyed, persistent, morally consistent voice over the years. Appreciate you. And I get letters like this every day. This is just the ones I got recently. A few months ago, Nina and I are leaving a restaurant in Hollywood area, and somebody pulls up in a car, and he's holding his phone out, obviously filming it. Black guy, looks to be about 30, 35 years old. You suck. You suck as a politician. You suck as a politician. You suck. And I smiled at him, and I said, get it all out. Get it all out. Let it breathe. Get it all out. And after a while, he just kind of drove off. And Nina looked at me, and I said, Nina, please. Please. This business about my sucking as a politician, the only way not to suck as a politician, i.e. not to lose, is not to run. I wonder how many times this gentleman has run for public office. Just to sum it up real fast, and I want to move on. I'd never run for anything other than third grade class president, and yes, I won that race. And I wasn't going to run this time, but so many people I respect, my pastor, Jack Hibbs, Dennis Prager, a really good friend named Lionel Chetwynd, a conservative filmmaker, a woman named Jenny Sand, who's a local activist, all came to me and suggested that I should do this. And the more I thought about it, the more I said to myself, if people who can make a difference don't do it, then people who can't make a difference will. And so I decided to do it. And I had no blooming idea how well I would do it. I got into the race relatively late. I got into the race about the same time that Arnold Schwarzenegger got into the recall election in the early 2000s, when there was a successful recall of a governor. I got in about the same time he did, with about 8 weeks left. And in 8 weeks, I raised $27 million, more than all of the other replacement candidates combined. And it was a two-step process. The first part of the ballot is, do you want Gavin Newsom recalled? And if 50% plus one said yes, then whoever got the most votes on the replacement part of the ballot, who do you want to replace him, would become the next governor. I got 49% of the replacement votes. The next highest person got 9%. And on the replacement ballot were the man that Gavin Newsom ran against the first time. His name is John Cox. He's a multimillionaire. He put in millions of dollars of his own money. I think he got around low single digits. A former member of the House named Dan Ossie. He ultimately dropped out. He had a heart attack. He didn't die. He had a heart attack. A guy named Kevin Kiley, who at the time was an assemblyman. He's now in the U.S. House of Representatives. Caitlyn Jenner ran. And I got more votes than all of them combined. And when I announced, the polls show that I was the leading contender. I was shocked. And every week, my lead got bigger and bigger and bigger. California has 58 counties. On the replacement side, I carried 57 of 58. The only one I didn't carry was San Francisco County, and I lost that by, wait for it, 149 votes. Now, the reason the recall failed this time was not that I wasn't famous like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I wasn't a Terminator. It's that they learned their lesson. In that successful recall in the early 2000s, one of the persons on the replacement ballot was the lieutenant governor of California. That's right. He was running against his own boss to take his boss's job. So there was a big name Democrat on the replacement side. In my situation, 2021, there were some big name Democrats who contemplated getting on the replacement side because they thought that Gavin Newsom was in trouble. The polls did show at one point that he was in trouble. And one of those big names is the former mayor of L.A., Antonio Villaraigosa. He made some public noises about becoming a replacement candidate. And all of a sudden, he didn't do it. There's speculation about why. My suspicion is they went to him and they said, "What do you need?" I'm not saying he did anything illegal, but he ultimately did not run. So therefore, there was no big name Democrat on the replacement side. So I got 49% of the vote. The next highest person got 9%. So if I suck as a politician, that means the individual that ran against Gavin Newsom the first time and then ran in the replacement recall election sucks. It means that the current member of the House, Kevin Kiley, sucks. It means that the former House member, Dan Ossie, who ran, sucks. It means, honestly, the reason it failed is because they were smart enough not to put a big name Democrat in it, unlike the first time. So I am very, very pleased with all the support I got. Oh my goodness. We had rallies, big rallies, and security told me that we drew Trump-like size crowds. I'm not trying to sound arrogant. I'm just telling you what I was told over and over and over again. Sometimes we didn't even let people know we were coming, and the word got around, and all of a sudden, these big spontaneous events took place. It was exhilarating, going up and down the state of California, meeting people. And believe it or not, much of California is quite rational. You have the Bay Area, and you have L.A. You throw out those areas, this is a very rational state, as we have seen recently when California turned down for the very first time an initiative to increase the minimum wage. Every time there's been an initiative to increase the minimum wage on the ballot, Californians have voted in favor of it. California voted for Proposition 47 in part because of Kamala Harris's description of it, which made it sound benign and helpful. It wasn't. And essentially, California voted to repeal it. We talked about this yesterday. Even though the LA Times voted against the repeal of it and opposed the ballot initiative that would have done that, Californians voted for Proposition 36 to repeal 47, essentially, by almost 40 points. And the left-wing soft-on-crime mayor of San Francisco did not get reelected. Soft-on-crime mayor of Oakland got recalled. And the soft-on-crime LA County DA, who got elected with George Soros back money, was defeated by almost 30 points, even though the LA Times endorsed his reelection. So something is happening in California. And Donald Trump pretty much doubled his vote here in California. He still lost pretty substantially, but he got 40% as opposed to about 20% back in 2020. Something is happening even in California. So the answer is I have no intention of running again this time. I've just signed a long deal here at Salem Communications. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying my return to radio. And it was grueling and it was exhilarating. I wouldn't have traded it for the world, but I think I've given it the office. I also briefly, as you know, ran for president, not because I wanted to displace Donald Trump. I assumed then that he would be the nominee and said so. But I wanted to talk about the epidemic of fatherlessness, which I did, and which Donald Trump ultimately began talking about it. I wanted to talk about the need for an amendment to the Constitution to fix spending to a certain percentage of the GDP. Otherwise, even if you have the efficiencies that Doge is talking about, government could get bigger and bigger once Doge is gone. And I wanted to bring more attention to the horrible situation of urban American education K through 12, where there are over 50 public high schools in Illinois, most of them in Chicago on the south and west side, where 0% of kids can do math at grade level. That's why I ran to heighten those issues. Mission accomplished.